Hey everyone, welcome back to the Georgia Tech IISE podcast. Our guests today are Georgia Tech professors and advisors who are here to give some advice on academic and professional planning from choosing concentrations to career trajectories. My name is Kavya Venkateswaran and I'm your host today. I'm a first-year IE major and I currently serve on the IISE board as a marketing officer. I have two amazing guests here with me right now. You guys would like to introduce yourselves.
I'm Dawn Strickland. I'm Director of Student Services at ISyE.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Silver and I'm an academic advisor for ISyE undergrads.
I think that a great place to start today, since we're focusing on academic and professional planning, is your own career trajectories. So what were your paths to becoming GT professors and advisors?
I'll go first. I'll just give you my bio, right? I was a math major undergrad at Duke University, go Devils. And then I did the PhD in operations research at Georgia Tech and ISyE a couple years ago, or 20. And then I went to, makes me sad. Then I decided I loved teaching, so I went to a teaching focused institution called Winthrop University in Rock Hill, South Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was there for about 8 or 9 years, I think 8 years. And I decided that I wanted to get into administration. I really liked meeting with students and advising them. I like teaching also, but I was teaching a lot, 3 to 4 classes per semester. So I decided I wanted to try something new. So I became an advising dean at Columbia University in the Center for Student Advising for both Columbia College and the School of Engineering. And then while I was there, I switched jobs within Columbia, and I was went to graduate student services in the engineering school. And while I did that, so after about a year in my primary, first advising role, I decided that I missed teaching a little bit. So I was fortunate enough that I had met enough people that I was able to teach some courses for the computer science and for the IEOR department, which is the equivalent of ISyE here, at Columbia. So I got to do both. And I ultimately decided that my dream job would be something that was probably about half, of each, like a mix of teaching and advising. So when the position opened up at Georgia Tech, my home school, it was great. It was advising, it was teaching, it was perfect, and it was in industrial engineering, because for a while there I was advising art history majors and whatnot at Columbia, and I didn't really know how to do that. I think they're okay, but hopefully I think it's just a little bit better if it's something that I know more about.
My route has been pretty circuitous. I started out pursuing a career path much more toward health policy, public health research. And I did that for about 4.5 years for some contract research organizations that work with a lot of different health-related agencies in the Department of Health and Human Services for the federal government. And then I decided, okay, it's time to go to grad school. If I want to return to this type of health policy position, but I want to be the one more directing the project, I need to get another degree. So I was lucky enough to get into the Rollins School of Public Health to pursue a grad degree in public health. And I had a lot of opportunities there to teach, mostly at the graduate level. So I was co-teaching, as a teaching assistant, multiple master's level courses in public health. And then I was able to teach as an adjunct, just like an intro course to healthcare policy. And I really enjoyed it. I just thought, oh gosh, I never expected to really enjoy teaching this much. So once I graduated from Emory with my grad degree, I sort of faced a fork in the road, because it wasn't a doctoral degree. So it's not like I could go and pursue tenure somewhere. And it brought me to advising, first at Georgia State University and now at Georgia Tech. But I've been lucky because this semester I'm actually teaching a course for the School of Public Policy at Georgia Tech. So things have sort of come full circle for me in a way.
Moving on, do you guys have any advice for students who are struggling to pick a concentration? And can you describe a few of the concentrations?
You want me to tell them my standard response that I think some people have like borrowed?
It's a good one. Yeah.
It's to go into the catalog, look at the constant or into the website that has list of concentration courses, and pick the ones, like pick 5 or 6 that you are most interested in and see if you can fit them into a concentration. I mean, if the 5 that you pick that you're most interested in are in analytics, maybe that tells you something. If you pick all 3 of the depth courses for supply chain, you might be a supply chain major. I'm like Jeff Foxworthy here. You may be an EFS major if. So I think, and then if you can't decide, you can always go to do general. If you want just kind of a breadth of knowledge, and you can pick and choose. There are a lot of options, but the options aren't all that different. So, and the concentration doesn't appear on your degree. So I wouldn't stress too much. My advice is to not stress too much about your concentration, but you do need to know it early so that your advisors can guide you on which courses you need to take in which semesters so you can graduate on time.
Well, so I will tell students that exact same thing. Yeah, definitely, it's the best place to start. But every now and then, if I'm speaking with a student who still just can't seem to do enough digging, say, on our website or the catalog to figure it out for him or herself, I will suggest that the student start looking up full-time jobs in industrial engineering and pretend that he or she is qualified for anything that they might come across, right? Because if you start reading a job description and immediately you say to yourself, oh, I'm not qualified, you're going to stop reading it. So just read the job descriptions and take note of what interests you about those, and then go back and look at the concentrations and say to yourself, what in the concentrations was I drawn to in those job postings?
It's really important because, like Lauren said, not just look at the title, because almost every title says analyst. But that doesn't mean analytics necessarily, I promise.
Right.
So you got to read the actual job, like duties and what skills they want.
The concentration by no means will pigeonhole you into any particular career path or grad school path. So you should be fine either way.
True.
Georgia Tech is a hard school, and it's not uncommon for students to take more than the traditional 4 years to graduate, whether it was due to taking a co-op, changing majors, or adding a major or a minor. What advice do you have for students who are struggling to figure out their graduation plans or are struggling to accept not following the traditional 4-year plan?
Go ahead.
Well, the degree to begin with is 128 credit hours, so it's pretty difficult. I mean, even if you're coming in with some AP credit, considering that there's going to be at least 1 or 2 semesters of some kind of work experience, it's difficult for even the most organized, ambitious students to, get out in 4 years. I would say, unless you have financial constraints, then don't worry about the graduation date per se. Worry more about how many semesters did I spend taking classes? And if that is more or less 4.5, 5 years worth, fine. You probably had work experience mixed in there.
Yeah, I have this is like a huge pet peeve of mine, that people talk about they want to graduate in 4 years. And I'm like, okay, that's great. That's 8 semesters of, 8 regular semesters of coursework. If you take a break and do co-op for 2 of those full semesters or 3 of those full semesters or any of them, that should not count, because you're not paying tuition. You're actually earning money, and you're getting job experience, which is something that a lot more traditional 4 calendar years and you're out, those students don't get that same experience. They come out with maybe a 8-week internship or something, and probably no study abroad because they couldn't fit it in. And honestly, don't don't worry about the calendar years especially. I don't know if that was your question, but the people who worry about, like, 2000, where are we, 21? I don't know. To 2000 to 2025. No, like, if you're going to extend your calendar time for this degree in order to enhance it with all of these experiences and jobs and even money and all that kind of stuff, do that. You're going to come out way further along than your high school friends who did it in 4 years.
I can't really expand on it much other than to say if you're taking out student loans, that is a very good reason to get out ASAP. But other than that,
you don't take them out during the semesters you're co-oping, right?
Oh yeah, no. Correct, right. Yeah.
So if you're doing it in 8 semesters, I say I don't care how long that takes, you're doing great.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And here's one other thing. I've been at a school before. You can probably pick, the choices are limited from what I said before, but where you had 8 semesters to graduate and that was it. If you wanted a 9th semester, you had to jump through hoops of fire and hope they let you come back to finish. Otherwise, no degree. So I know, right? I think it's awesome that you have the option to plan your study in any way you'd like.
I know you talked a little bit about some of the opportunities Georgia Tech has, like co-oping. Could you go into a little bit more detail on some of the best on-campus resources for IE students in particular?
As far as work experience goes?
Yeah, just general, I guess, both in the academic and the professional sense.
You mean finding internships?
Yeah, just general resources to help progress academically and also find opportunities outside of that.
So academically, there's a ton of tutoring that's available on campus, and they have very quickly transitioned to virtual tutoring in light of the pandemic. So the Office of Undergraduate Education and the Center for Academic Success, tons of tutoring. I would say to Georgia Tech students, swallow your pride. I've been there too myself. If you're having problems early on, seek some academic help, and it's there for you. Don, you want to cover the professional aspect?
Well, the ISyE Tutoring Center is another one that if you're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, you probably know about it. It's on the website.
Right.
Just like /tutoring, right? Like that's the website.
Yeah. I was thinking more of, math and chemistry.
Early, yeah. So for your early coursework, then those are the institute resources. But then the later course, mostly middle coursework, middle and later core courses for ISyE, we were having trouble finding centralized resources for those, which makes sense. So Damon Williams developed the tutoring center, and it's staffed like a lot. There's a lot of hours. And your advisors are fantastic resources for your academic planning. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people are like, oh, I didn't even know that until I went and saw my advisor. And so just please go see your advisors. For career stuff, oh my gosh, ISyE right here. This chapter is amazing. The career fairs that ISyE puts together are phenomenal. And I don't know if you guys know this, you can read about it on the website, but there's usually a wait list for companies who want to pay us to let them come on campus and recruit our students. And that's why before the pandemic, the career fair moved to McCamish Pavilion. It outgrew the student center, at least the fall one. The spring one may still have been in the student center, but it is just, companies can't get enough of our students. So because of that, I'm saying there are tons of opportunities. You just have to be able to find them. If a career fair, doesn't work out for you, isn't your thing, especially when they're virtual, hopefully not always. Hopefully they're coming back. But, there's Career Buzz, the Career Center, C2D2 or whatever it's called now. Then in our office, you may be interviewing them as well, Dima Nazal and Ron Johnson. They may be also on this podcast. They are our professional development, career development faculty that I think would give you great advice. Talking to upperclassmen, talking to people that are in ISE. Working in ISE, I think, is a great networking experience. If you are on a committee with somebody, if you are setting up the career fair, I've heard of people getting jobs while they're helping companies set up the career fair, and just they get to talking and they're like, you know what, why don't you come work for us? Do that. Put yourself out there. Don't just have a resume that you submit 1,000 places on CareerBuzz. That might work too, but I think you'll get a much richer experience, or at least the position that you want more, if you do a little bit of research on it.
Agreed.
And can I say one more thing? I can't tell you how many students have done like one internship and they're like, ugh, I did not like that. But the beauty of IE is that the next one you get can be completely different. So maybe supply chain's not your thing, maybe coding isn't your thing, but there's so many different things you can do with IE that don't give up after your first one. Just like don't drop IE because you don't like probability.
I think that's a really excellent point. And I'm not sure how many folks in this age category would even think to consider this, but learning what you don't enjoy can be as valuable as learning what you do enjoy. So take note of what you want to avoid as far as a career path and, in the professional setting and the culture and all of that goes.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, that is definitely great advice, and definitely some advice that I can take for myself too. Another question I have is going back to what we were saying about co-oping. A lot of students struggle to see the difference between a co-op and an internship. So how would you describe the two of them, and how would you advise students to pick between the two of them?
So I always recognize my bias when a student asks me this, because I just know right away that for me personally, it would always be a choice of multiple different internships as opposed to a co-op, just because I would want to be able to experience different company cultures, vastly different types of roles and so forth. But a co-op gives you the opportunity to work for the same organization, probably the same group within the same organization or company for, 3 semesters, each of which is sandwiched by semesters of coursework. And the main point is that you're supposed to be given work across those 3 work terms of increasing responsibility. And so that is the advantage. You might be able to put more achievements per se on your resume because you've been given increasing amounts of responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was what I was going to say, was the difference in them is the difference as far as like structurally, I think you guys probably know, but the difference in which one is better, like it really depends on you. It depends on what you are interested in. Oh my gosh, so many people co-op for Delta because they love the flight benefits. I want to co-op for Delta so I can have flight benefits. And there are some programs, I'm not sure I know there's some programs around here where there are co-ops where they do rotate departments within the co-op, within the company. So it's the same company, but you get different experiences in different types of IE. So all of those things are great. It may be a situation, and this is where you have to just do research and ask people, like, it might be that Home Depot has co-ops but not internships or something like that. I just made that up. I don't know if that's true. But there may be some and there are certain companies, I believe, I can't name them for you. I'm sorry, go to the Career Center, Karen Houston. But certain companies, I believe, for co-op will target younger students, not younger in the sense of in their academic careers. They don't care how old you are. But after your first year or so, they may want you as a co-op because they know they're going to have you for 3 semesters while you're learning all of the IE tools of the trade. There are other companies that want juniors and seniors. So they want people who have had a lot of the core coursework already, so they don't have to teach them. It really just depends.
Awesome. Thank you.
One other thing to keep in mind too is, and students realize this as they begin applying for co-ops and internships, applying for a work experience, even if it's not a full-time gig that you're applying for, is having like another job on top of your academics. So the advantage of a co-op is you only have to go through that process once, potentially, And you don't have to repeat it, as you would with different internships.
That's true. It takes away some stress for sure. It's a good point.
Yeah.
And I think that the internships and co-ops are fantastic things because if you like what you're doing, it's pretty likely that, and if you're good at it, they're going to ask you to do it forever. But if you don't, you can just peace out in like 3 months, right? So you don't have to quit. Like you don't have to go through like, I'm unemployed, I need to find a new job first, because you're going back to school. So that's so beautiful. Not that I want to do that, because I want to stay in this job. But if you don't like a job, if it's temporary and it's nice, and you get to find that out without having to have multiple permanent jobs on your resume, and again with the career search part. Yeah,
that's a professional summer camp.
Yes,
except you get paid. You don't have to pay to go to it.
Many students after college plan to go back to school for a master's or a PhD, and a good number decide to come back to GT. How would you describe GT's ISyE grad programs in terms of the skills you would get, as well as coursework and benefits?
Yeah, I meet with most of the students. If you're watching this, I might have met with you, who, especially ones who want to do the master's degree after the bachelor's degree. You can still double count. You can do an unofficial BSMS program. We're working to make them official, where you can, if you graduate with a 3.5 or better, you can double count 6 credits towards the master's between the BSIE and the master's that you do, as long as it's in a related field. If you do a master's in like French or something, I don't know what you would double count, but that's I don't think we even have those. So you can, in addition to those 6 credits you double count, you can take 6 more credits. They have to be in excess of the degree. So you finish your 128 credits, or you don't have to finish them, but you know what I mean. Once you finish with your 128 credits, you have 6 extra ones that can count also for the master's degree. So you can earn up to 12 credits as an undergraduate that will apply to the master's degree at Georgia Tech. We have master's degrees in, okay, I'm gonna try. I might have to open the web. IE, OR, Health Systems, Analytics, Statistics, Supply Chain Engineering, UCF, which is Quantitative and Computational Finance, CSE, which is Computational Science and Engineering. I think that's it. There are tons. Yeah, there's a lot. Now, some of them, so QCF is actually managed by Scheller, the School of Business. So we have ISyE students in that program, but really they're being managed by Scheller. So if you need a contact for them, you email me and I'll tell you who to email over there. The analytics program, everybody is all interested in analytics right now. We have an on-campus program that is less than 100 people, very competitive. It's a premium program. It's a professional master's. It's a little bit more expensive, but you get a lot of perks. You get career counseling and lunches and boot camps and travel funds and all this kind of stuff. So that's the on-campus. Now you can do it very expensive. So it's expensive for on-campus, but it's very inexpensive online, but you get none of those benefits. It's all in MOOC style, which are those massive online courses. That's what the online MSA is. And it's much less competitive because there's room for a lot of students. The supply chain engineering is our one and only Board of Regents right now approved BSMS degree. And that has it's fairly well structured. So if you want to do that, if you want to pursue that, definitely come see me. We can plan for it. All the other ones, besides supply chain, all of the other ones have flexibility and a little bit more direct, like master's and undergrad level correlations that we can more easily double count. So even if you didn't plan to do it in you're in your last semester, you can still probably double count 2 of your courses that you took for one of your concentration courses towards one of our master's degrees. Health systems is a really nice is it okay for me to talk about all the master's programs? You can edit this out if you don't like it.
No, go for it.
The health systems one.
Yeah, the health systems program is great. So it's a small program. It's almost like a boutique program. It's been around for a long time. because my roommate when I was in graduate school was a health systems major. She works for Deloitte now. She's doing very well, and uh, and this program is I mean I think there's probably fewer than 20 people in it at the time, which is great because these students have a lot of projects. The courses they are required to take for health systems have a lot of group or actually even individual projects with local health systems and healthcare organizations, CHOA, CDC, Grady, Emory, a lot of things. And so they're really well connected to the healthcare field when they graduate. They have a lot of connections and a lot of experience usually working with them. So that's really nice, and it's really something that I think probably should be blowing up pretty soon as far as applications go with the pandemic recently.
We need smart people working on healthcare.
I know, right?
Please, it's like 18% of GDP. Do something about it.
So the IE and OR and stats, I think I might not have said stats. I can't remember. We have IEOR and statistics. Those are traditional master's programs. It's where you take 10 courses in that field beyond the undergraduate level. A lot of times those students in those programs are either trying to gain more knowledge or trying to see if they're interested in a PhD. And so they'll take some more theoretical coursework for their master's just to see if they're ready for the PhD. And it's also, this isn't probably relevant for this podcast, but it's the master's in IE and OR and stats are great ways for students who come from other fields like CS or math or something like that to get these applied skills that a lot of our undergraduates already have, to be honest. And I think that was it. So those are the master's programs. Come talk to me. We love our students do very well. We found that our students do very well in these master's programs, and so we love having our students in our master's program. And we can get you out pretty fast comparatively. So that's another thing. And sometimes you get another summer, so you get another internship and another way to see what you like. The PhD program is very competitive. It is highly theoretical generally, and so you really we have an advanced studies and OR and something. What is it, Lauren? Data science, analytics. Anyway, the advanced studies concentration is designed to prepare you for theoretical postgraduate study. So you're going to get some math, you're going to get some computing, you're going to take graduate courses before you get to graduate school. It's just, our undergrad is very applied and our PhD is very theoretical. And so it's a big jump if you haven't taken any theoretical courses. If you're not in that concentration though, it doesn't mean you can't do a PhD. It just means that you probably need to come talk to one of us and we can recommend a couple of courses that are going to help you out. You can also take courses in the first year of your PhD to kind of make up for your lack of theoretical preparation. And so no worries. The best thing I would recommend if you want to do a PhD is do some undergraduate research. Find a professor. There's a seminar or a talk every semester that I think APM, maybe ISyE, and Dr. Zhou organizes that has examples of types of research you can do, professors who have open spots for undergraduate researchers. I would say get some research going first because that experience looks great on a PhD application. Second, so you can figure out if you like it or not.
You've got to really enjoy getting into the weeds on a certain subject.
Oh yeah.
To pursue a PhD. Because, I mean, ultimately you'll be expected to contribute new knowledge to the scholarly literature.
No, yeah, awesome. It's good to hear like a nice overview of the master's and the PhD programs because I haven't heard much about either of them. So thank you for that. Dr. Strickland, I actually have a question for you specifically. As an advisor for senior design, what are some tips for students who are about to start that course? And what are some examples of interesting projects you've seen?
Oh, so many. I can talk about senior design all day and I haven't even advised that many projects, but it's just so great. I think because I was an undergraduate math major, we didn't have senior design. And then I did, like in grad school, I didn't do senior design. So, and I rarely worked on real life projects. So seeing real life projects that are being solved and just like great things being done for these companies by undergraduate students, a group of them, saving, dollars, time, all this kind of things for these and lives, probably in some cases. The very first time, I'm going to tell a story, you can edit it. The very first IISE student conference, I think we're at Mississippi State. I'd been back at Georgia Tech doing my advising job for about 6 weeks. And I go there, we go into the technical paper competition, and one of Georgia Tech's teams had been chosen for a finalist, and the other two teams, I don't remember who they were, where they were from, what they did, whatever. The other two teams went up, and I was like, okay, fine. And when Georgia Tech's team got up there, it was like she finished, and it was like mic drop because it was so good. They, and I was almost, I felt bad for the other schools because I was like, it is so clear. Like, and anyways, so we have a very different IISE chapter by the end, just set of school. I'm going to be snobby about Georgia Tech right now. So I know, can I do that? I can do that, right? So I'm very proud, so of our students. The talk was about, it's been 6 years now. They did data analysis on IRE. Lauren might know this one. Increased risk for some sort of infection that starts with an E, and I think they were kidneys. Liver. It was liver. IRE. Oh. So okay, sorry. I can explain it better. I'm sorry. You can rewind. So what happens is people who need, I think, a liver transplant, they're donor livers, and they are classified as either regular or IRE, increased risk for encephalopathy or something like that. And so the question is, if I need a liver transplant and the only thing available to me is that increased risk for infection liver, do I take it? So they made a dashboard, a tablet, or an app, I guess, that takes in data from all the patients, temperature, history, age, all that kind of thing. Then they had all of this data about survival rates for different scenarios in the background. They did all this data analysis on it. I don't know how to do data, so I'm sure there are big words about it, and they would basically come up with a graph that the doctor and the patient and the family could discuss with each other to talk about the risks. Like if you take this liver or if you don't take this liver, but it takes X number of years or months for a new liver to come in, what is your chance of not surviving? And so it was just really interesting and really cool. And I think it's going to make a big difference, or hopefully it is already making a big difference for them. That's just one. I'm trying to think my best team that I have advised so far. Well, they're all the equally best, but the one that won was for Cisco, and it was an optimization problem about shipping things via ocean or via air and trying to reduce the carbon footprint a little bit or a lot of it, and doing it cheaply and more efficiently. That was a great team. They did everything without me, which was, they just told me what they were doing, and that was it. That was great. If you were getting ready for senior design, or if you are getting ready to get ready for senior design, so I would recommend that you start talking to your classmates. You need teammates. You're forming your own team here. Do not get a bunch of people that are just like you. You need one or maybe two people who can code really well. You're going to need, you don't know what your project necessarily is going to be. I mean, you do get to choose it in some sense, but you want somebody who's good. You never know where it's going to go. You never know the direction. You might think it's an optimization project, but it ends up being simulation or something like that. So you want people who are good at simulation, good at optimization, good at regression. So many different things. You want someone who's good at writing. Some of these, okay, I know there's only 8 people on the team, and some of these people can have 2 qualities, right? So So you want a diverse team as far as skills go. Make sure that the people you're working with have the same work ethic. You might have a best friend in IE, but like they stay up all night and do all their work overnight, and you're like, nah, I'm a 6 a.m. person. I'm going to do my work then. You want to make sure that you have. I know I'm not doing that either. I don't know. That was something like, but you want to make sure that you guys have compatibility because you were going to spend a lot of time together for a semester and a half. You get to be with your team for the semester before that you actually do senior design, and while you're finding a project, locating it, getting it approved, so that the senior design coordinators can let you know if your project is big enough or small enough to do in 3 months, 4.5 months. Make sure also, please, that you have finished the core and 3 out of 5 concentration electives before your senior design semester. If you don't, you will not take senior design.
Yes, please.
I have never seen an exception to that rule. So I just want to warn you, meet with your advisor, let them know when you want to take senior design, and make sure you plan to have 3 out of 5, if you're on a new catalog, or 4 out of 6, depending on your catalog, concentration electives before your senior design semester.
Professor Silver, I know you worked in the public health and like policy field, as you mentioned before. How would you say IE has contributed to that field?
Well, first of all, I can't take credit for any title that goes by professor, so just Lauren's totally fine.
You profess?
Maybe, yeah, I profess a lot. Maybe
No.
instructor. I'm like, but then IE has been, but increasingly much more so, is becoming critical to improving healthcare and public health. As you know, we have the Center for Health and Humanitarian Systems. It's directed by Dr. Pinar Kiskinajak. I think right now, I mean, if we were to focus, say, on priorities, if students are interested in, look, I want to do something healthcare related. If you want to make the biggest impact right now with your IE degree, you need to help us figure out how we can lower the cost of healthcare. And if that can be done, we will be able to free up resources so that more funding will flow to disease prevention-oriented activities. And so when we think of that, we think of all of the logistics around the COVID-19 vaccine distribution program, of course, which IE is perfectly applicable to. But right now, I would say IEs, please, if you can figure out the cost of healthcare in this country, this is what you need to do. And honestly, you might be the only ones able to do it.
Do you have any last minute encouragement or advice for current IE students at GT?
I would say stop being so hard on yourselves. Or just, relax a little and enjoy the fact that you're in college. Do well, but try to be really intentional about where you take your academics. If you have a free elective available to take, look at everything being offered, say, by Ivan Allen. There's really, really interesting courses you can take that will make you much more interesting at the next party that you go to. Be intentional and be introspective and think about what you're interested in. Don't just go through college like you're checking, boxes off. But I would say, and try to enjoy it. I know learning can be painful, but you should try to enjoy it. Trust me, when you're my age, you'll wish that you could go back for the learning aspect. That's it, just for the learning.
I say ask for help.
Yeah.
Ask for help when you need it. Even if you think you don't need it, be like, I might need help. Ask for help. There's nothing wrong with it. It's especially a good lesson to learn for first years, who, when they were in high school, didn't ever have to ask for help. They were the ones who were getting asked for help. It's okay. That's the thing that I wish Georgia Tech students would get over. Like, you just need to ask for help. I can tell you my story, and I don't know if this will become interesting or not. I didn't even think about sharing it before, but I was fine in college, whatever. It was did fine, you know. Got to graduate school and tanked. I was the worst graduate student. I did not understand what I was doing. I had never seen a lot of this stuff before. I had the theoretical background, but nothing else. And probably not even good enough that, I don't know. And so I spiraled. I had this like crisis of identity, and I developed an anxiety disorder. I would pass out. I was scared to drive because I didn't want to pass out when I drove. That is bad. And so I couldn't leave my house. It was my apartment. I was so fortunate to have really good friends, a really supportive family, and really good friends. My family doesn't live here, but my friends did, and they just propped me up. They gave me rides everywhere. They came over and helped me with all my homework. I asked for help. I got medical help. I got counseling help. I got help from our graduate directors, the people, the professors who were helping me. The graduate director at the time was Gary Parker. I sat in his office crying a lot, and he.
Oh,
It's okay, and look where I am. It's fine. I'm glad I went through it. I got help. I'm, medicated and all that. That's fine. If that's for you, then I'm happy to talk about that too.
Our school has a way of doing that to people.
I got help, and I got help from our administration. That's why I'm doing this, because I want to help other people like me, because they said, okay, look, let's take a step back. I did I was doing the PhD level courses. I was not doing great. Back through, did the master's level, and then repeated the PhD ones. I was like, oh, I get it. Just took my time, got a lot of help, and I finished. And not everybody finished. Mostly it's not because they don't succeed. It's because they just decided it's not for them.
I didn't finish.
Because you decided it wasn't for you. It's one of those things. So that's fine. But I finished. I wanted to finish, and I finished. And I chose excellent advisors, one of whom is Dr. Joel Sokol, who's still around. And I feel like I got lucky every step of the way after that initial kind of bad year. I got lucky because I asked for help, and people were totally willing to help me. So it's a good lesson. Please ask for help. Ask me.
Students are gonna encounter setbacks, and this could be the first set of setbacks that many students encounter. Maybe high school was a breeze, but you don't really grow as a person or an intellectual unless you take those setbacks. You look at them squarely in the face, and you figure out how to get past them. It's just, it's going to be a part of your life until the day you die, to be honest. So just take things one day at a time.
I think we can go ahead and close this off. So really quickly, just to conclude, thank you so much to all of the viewers for tuning in today, and a special thank you to both of our guests for coming and sharing all of their advice. I think they really provided us with a lot of valuable information. So if you have any questions, feel free to email GTIISE or visit our website at gtiise.org, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you.